What tools or values and ideologies actually create the system that we see today? Any thoughts? What are the belief systems that we carry as a society that enables that to happen? Meritocracy? Anyone else? What was that? Patriarchy? Mm-hmm. Capitalism, yeah. Yeah, and we know those things in buckets, right? Like capitalism, patriarchy. Within that, there are specific behaviors, there are specific values, there are specific ideologies and beliefs that exist that enable that to flourish. So how do we practice patriarchy? How do we practice capitalism? How do we practice colonialism? How do we practice white supremacy? So we're talking about that in just a minute. In 2019, a bike sharing company called Mobike. What they've been doing is they've been sharing user location data with advertisers. We see that all the time, right? On social media, we get these targeted ads where we're like having a conversation with our friend and then suddenly it pops up as an ad on our social media. So similarly, what they were doing is they're sharing location data, where you were, and then they were reporting that over to advertising companies. Can you think about some of the dangers that might happen when an advertiser utilizes your location data to target you? What might be some of the harms or some of the consequences of that? Well, for people in the queer community, people who are wanting to protect their identity, perhaps they're not ready to come out yet, or there's danger associated with coming out. If you ride a bike and you go to a gay bar, and then suddenly you start getting different types of targeted advertising, what's the risk then? So this happens when we're practicing what I showed you with the triangle there, right? Privilege first thinking. We don't think about marginalized communities. We don't think about the impact on those groups. This happens when we are operating under the ideologies and the worldviews that we have been steeped in, because this is normal. It's normal to deprioritize marginalized communities. It's normal to secondarize the planet. What we're asking is, how do we practice something different to change the outcome? Shauna Wilson has a book called Research's Ceremony. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend reading it. And in that book, he says, everything we do shares in the ongoing creation of the universe. Everything that you do, even if you think it's such a small decision, we think that within our roles, like what can we do at work? We think within our day-to-day lives as people, what can we actually do? You can do a lot. So, with the person beside you, or maybe even within yourself, this is an invitation for you to think about, what is that future that you desire? What kind of world? We don't even have a picture of it, right? We don't see, imagine, think about the sci-fi movies. Think about the movies that we consume, all the media that we see. What kinds of narratives and stories do they tell us? Do they tell us positive stories that are occurring outside of this capitalist lens, or stories of like after this colonialism is a thing of the past and now we've moved into in a society of joy and flourishing and abundance? No, they don't. They tell us repeated stories of our current situation. So I want you to exercise your imagination, and I want you to be rooted and grounded in the values that you carry, not what the system tells you,